You just have to put in that effort. You have to put in the time to hone your craft and get great at it. Mike Durband, meticulous about stuff. Yeah. He is so like just aware of the stuff that he wants to cut out, the stuff that you see disappear. But we're sitting on those live shows together, and then you see the finished product, and you're like, wow, man, that was pretty sweet how he transitioned away from this. It's the people that want to put in the efforts, and they want to make themselves a better performer or better content creator. I hate that word, but I will just say it, content creator. And the laziness of others, it hurts the whole industry.
Exactly. You know what I've been doing to my wife lately? I've been going around the house to her at random times, and I just go up to her, and this is the God's honest truth. I shot Chris this video just to show him that I do it. And I go up to my wife, and I was like, who are you to doubt El Dandy? And she just looks at me, what the fuck is this El Dandy you're always talking about? I say, now you're saying, who the fuck is El Dandy? I said, what the hell? So I just randomly do it all the time, but...
No, I agree, and you're right about Mike and his meticulous nature. And, I've said it to him before, like, I go on those recordings and just whatever comes into my head, I'll throw it against the wall and we'll see if it sticks. And if it doesn't stick, Mike will clip that shit out. Mike is so good at making you, like, he even somehow manages to make certain lines funnier than they actually were. Whether it's by adding visuals or just clipping out some of the nonsense that, actually refines the joke down. He's a genius.
Let's get to the shout-outs. And since Nick is replacing Conan this week and the people do not want Joe, they did not join Patreon to have Joe shout anybody out. Okay, it's like, maybe the Get My Go Patreons, would appreciate Joe getting shout out, everything. But
I'd like to shout out. I'd like to shout out Mike Durband from Chicago, Husey from Belfast, Ireland. All right, I'm sorry.
Husey has heat with me. He's too much of a clickbait artist for my taste.
Yeah,
really. You could ask me like, "Hey, what's the weather like in Nashville?" And I could say, "Oh, it's a little chilly, and the sun's shining and blue skies." And somehow Husey will turn it into Nick Aldis shoots on Nashville weather. But
And that's what I see in the years of listening to them is that Opie was the guy who, excuse me, I didn't mean to drop a rue there and cough into the microphone.
Multiple time Olympian, the greatest swimmer ever, Michael Phelps, has been teaching us all about the breaststroke, all about the regular good strokes that you need there. Over the top, cup your hands, kick your feet, man. We're ready for it.
Well, me and you, we're experts on the breaststroke, but I mean...
Very much. No doubt about that.
Do you think certain people, like they're masters at like the flog-in dolphin stroke?
It's a very hard one to do.
Okay.
It's a very, very hard one to do. I don't know. I don't know if anybody other than a few people in this world are masters at that one. That's a very hard one to do. We've been trying to learn it, and me and you haven't been able to learn it very well.
That's even too radical for us. I'm just saying, man.
Yeah, I would agree on that. It is what it is on that.
You got to eradicate it, man. It's getting bad, and it's only getting worse. It's not getting better. It's just as more companies make this equipment or lack of available, there's just going to be more shows, and it sucks. And just because you have a lot of shows doesn't mean you're good. Yes. It just means you have a lot of time on your hands.
Yes.
And that's one thing I'm seeing too. People are stretching themselves so incredibly thin that it dilutes and it just completely takes away from anything you do.
Finally, major props to Joe for working well under the weather. What a trooper. I hope the new year brings you that coveted 400G GNR box set, $400 GNR box set, a new Jim Morrison biography, and even greater success for your Get My Go family. Hughie, the Radster, the Chadster, Durbin, Midnight Mike, and that Aussie guy.
Oh, come on, dude. Wait one second.
Psych. No. There's what he says. Okay. He said, psych, F all those losers.
Come on.
Hopi Conan Berries Get My Go 10 times worse in 2022. Hey, see, you were going to kazoo this guy, but he was going to. Hey, Conan.
My bad.
I need this to stop with all the shitty people. So I will be a Get My Go member until the dying day. And I think we need to expand more and we need to do more because we need to shit on the rest of these shitty podcasts.
Get My Go returned last week, and this week we're going to set our sights on JD from New York and review his video podcast. Disco, do you know who JD?
You're going to review JD from New York?
Yeah, it already.
Are you really?
It came out last week. Yeah.
So is that kind of like the Dave Wack, kind of like the Get My Go thing?
Yeah, we're going to Get My Go JD from New York. Yeah. which
really?
is
bro, this guy's got a pretty decent following.
big one.
Credit to him.
Who is he?
He's a complete fanboy. Hates the WWE. Everything WWE stinks. Everything AEW is fantastic. He's just one of these is feeding into that audience, and he's built up a following of like-minded fans.
Right.
But the guy is just complete, nothing more than a mark.
And the video we review,
Yeah,
man,
he's funny.
no, he just yells at everything. He's like a New York Italian guy that just yells a lot, But
Who? That's very detailed, by the way. Don't think that just because you explained to me who he is, he's not a who.
He's
friends. Wait. He's friends with Solo Monster too, right?
Yeah, and he's had unkind things to say about the both of you. So,
is he really?
Yeah.
Try to pull this.
I can't find it. Yeah, I think it's gone.
You can't find it. You just said it 1 second ago. You can't look.
No. We were on the hunt for it already. Di. We wanted to put it on.
I would
the show.
love to know what his beef is with us now. I don't even know who he is.
Yeah, well, because our YouTube clips, some of them will be incendiary and inflammatory towards AEW. He's a huge AEW dyed in the wool.
Please bring him on the show so he can get served. Ask him. Go.
Let's do it.
Conan said that he heard you're talking shit. Come on the show.
Well, we don't even know exactly what he said yet. So I don't want
whatever it is that you're saying, or if you want to come on the show and chop it up, either one.
I remember that it had to do with you guys saying Kenny Omega's title reign wasn't that great or something, and who the fuck are you two guys to criticize the fucking best bout machine and all that kind of thing? Yeah.
This guy sounds like a mark. Then.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be arguing with a mark. Yeah,
right.
Ixnay that.
And then the other idiot, forget it. I don't even want to go into that other asshole. The stupidity that comes out of his mouth. I mean, just shut the fuck up. He's just such a dickhead. I don't know why this kid has any ability to sit in front of his time, his whatever, and say, I'm going to now waste an hour and a half making horrible shit jokes, if you can call them that, about wrestling at 2:00 in the morning with some dude in New York. Like, what the hell? Just go to sleep. We've seen that. Just go to sleep.
Yes. I couldn't be any more different
100%.
Politically from Mick Foley, but I've sat down with the man for 30 to 45 minutes and I've spent a lot of time talking to him as a person. I can look past that and love 100%. Him as a human being and look in that man's soul and realize he genuinely wants everybody to do good.
Yeah.
Or no, he talked about his dead grandma on the same podcast that he talked about fucking his wife in the bathtub or something, right? Yes. Like, come on. So what is that?
Yeah.
That's life. Good morning, everybody. And yes, my good friend Mike Durband here on Twitch is reminding me of what a great and tremendous theme that is for this show, because Mike came up with it, and I am very, very grateful, and I do love it. And Mike, thank you very, very much. Big shout out to Mike Durband, man. Check out some of Mike's podcast out there. I think Get My Go still a podcast?
All right, welcome back to Get My Go, episode 61. I got everybody with me today. The whole crew is here. This is going to be a little different episode than usual. We're just going to have a nice roundtable discussion, kind of a debate, although I think the sides will not be equal. Dean, you actually gave me the idea for this episode, and I don't think you intended to, but you did.
How so?
So I was listening to Mallertown, the episode Vacation to Husey.
Yeah, it's not Vacation to Husey. It's Vacation to Husey.
Best sequel since Matrix Revolutions.
Also, not that there's anything wrong with that, is after the Husey as well.
So, this little segment of the show gave me an idea for us to do a show on that. So let's listen to this. Well, first, let me just say who's with us today, because Joe is now at the bottom right.
Yes. Hey.
Hello.
From Perth, Australia, we have the Aussie guy, and we've just learned a few things about Perth today.
Woo. You did. Had an amazing discussion. So it's a shame it wasn't on recording. Everyone would have loved it.
We have the Chadster.
I'm back.
And we have the H-Man.
Good evening.
And in the bottom right position, the man with the new computer, the man with the new Mac, Welcome to the Mac world, Joe Feeney.
I'm enjoying it. I have to do so much shit on the computer. It's become like torture to sit in this spot. But now that I have the new computer, I'm willingly at my computer a lot more. So people's shows are going to come out on time and stuff. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Haven't you had it for like 3 hours? Like,
yeah, but so far so good.
Settle down.
All right, let's play this clip. All right, this is from Mallertown.
Do you think that if he got rid of Chris Martin, that it would change everything? Or do you think it would stay a feud?
Yeah, good point. Mike seems to be more happy to be friendly with Martin than Wangland, but I definitely believe Martin is the problem at this point. Because how can you... I guess I'll bring up, something I messaged to you guys the other day, just rattling off the list of things from this guy. Spinal stenosis and degenerative disc disease.
But I still suffer from spinal stenosis and degenerative disc disease.
Cancer, burst eardrum with hearing loss, drug addiction.
I am not a drug addict. I'm a former drug addict.
Porn addiction.
That's never going to go away.
The other day he said he had epilepsy as a kid and he got over the epilepsy. Like, how this guy is a gross human being. Like, it's gross.
Yeah, and that's why I just think it makes Wangland look so dumb. And the fact that...
So, Husey, you said you think that Martin makes Wangland look dumb.
Yeah, because what's the point of keeping Martin around? Like, who thinks that there's this guy who's not only boring, but he's dumb and has a speech impediment? Let's do an audio thing with him that involves him being off the cuff, intelligent and witty. It'd be like bringing let's say Betty White to your house and then being shocked that the smell is bad.
Oh. Betty White presently or Betty White a week ago? I got to say that clip kind of summed up what we're about to talk about in like the perfect way. So for us to elaborate on it, it's going to be very creative because fine, valid points made by the two speaking on the clip.
Well, I kind of disagree. I think that, first of all, we had a brief conversation in the DM after that clip was shared, some weeks ago. And it seemed like everybody was in agreement that, Martin is the despicable one. John would be so much better without Martin. I disagree. I think Martin is far more entertaining than John.
Well, you just got to make a list, like writing down, like if you were going to date a chick, like what are the pros and cons? Like pros, she's entirely fuckable. I can't think of any cons, but Martin's cons were listed by Dean. Like, first of all, the guy pretended to have cancer. I mean, for me, that's always been the focus. He's a dumb shit and the talent's not there, but I'm sure we all know someone or lost someone to cancer. It's despicable. The worst things that John did was a little behind the back bullshit with sponsors, and he lied about numbers, but that doesn't hurt any of us. It can kind of hurt podcasters as a whole, but Martin is the dregs. He's the bottom of the barrel. He's the low of the low. Do I think John would have any improvement in his podcasting attempts or his wannabe empire that he tried to build? I don't think he'd have any more success without him, but still being associated with him doesn't do him any favors.
Yeah, I can agree with you in some ways, Mike. Like when Brother Martin goes on his own on the old Inspireds or Baptized Fire, that you're right, that can be really entertaining.
I am not a drug addict when it comes to doing heroin or meth or crack or whatever.
But for the reasons of he'll say shit that John would never say. He doesn't think about it and he'll just go off on a rant and he just won't think about the things that he's saying. And he says some stupid things, some things that you just shouldn't say at any time. And he puts them out, for everyone to listen to. So I will say, yes, I think Brother Martin can be more entertaining, but as I said in the clip, he's filthy person. All the lies, he's just so willing to lie. He's the newest one was the epilepsy that I heard recently, and I can't remember if I clipped it or not, Mike. I might have to have a look in a minute. But yeah, he said that, he had epilepsy as a kid and he got over it. And
I didn't know that was curable.
I don't think you can cure epilepsy. I don't.
Flash some lights in front of him and see.
Yeah.
It's the power of prayer. The power of prayer cured his epilepsy, cured his cancer. It cures his stutter on occasions as well, which seemingly appears and disappears at will.
I think with his stutter, I will say, I think his stutter's legit. And one thing with the stutter is the more confident you are, the less you stutter. And so I think he's got more confident. I don't know why, but he's got more confidence. So I think the stutter's legit.
I disagree. Roger Daltrey stutters every time he tries to sing the pop classic My Generation. So you're wrong.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I have to look at it. I don't know if it's from a subjective or objective perception here on my end. I just don't know who to point at, because when you talk about the cons of Martin, they're legit cons. Like, they are schemes and they are like nefarious in nature. John, it seems like at one point, and again, and I've said this on countless occasions on these airwaves, you guys all had connections to him. I didn't. Okay. So to me, as an outsider, I see that he was kind of in the general rise, like all of us have been. Like, we've hit a certain point and then things start to get a little bit better. It seems like he was working his way there, hit a huge wall called Get My Go, and then just tapered off the side of the cliff. Martin, on the other hand, has no business being behind a microphone. He should be having earbuds in his ears listening to the podcast. He should never be holding a microphone and speaking in front of one. And that's the truth. But I can't say he's worse than Wangland. So I'm still I'm going to teeter-totter here back and forth, because it's a very hard question.
I feel that Chris Martin ruined Get My Go, because when we were making fun of Wangland, it was funny because he talks like a big and he's so stupid and he mispronounces so many words while talking about how educated that he is. Whereas Chris Martin, we just wanted to kick his fucking head in. And it became less funny, Get My Go, and it became more like threats and rants about this suicidal cunt. I hope you succeed next time, which I really do hope he this year. I hope that he goes to hang himself. The chair breaks. A leg goes up his arse. He runs out into the street for assistance, and a fucking van carrying AIDS patients crashes right into his open mouth.
That usually how they travel. They just stuff all the AIDS patients in the back of one equipment van.
Now, does the 2-man power trip release an episode that day? That would be the only.
Oh yeah, you might save him.
Yeah.
I think, Chad, if it wasn't for you, he may not even be here.
That's a good point.
You son of a bitch. I think what clearly could have saved John would have been the innovation that would have been the baseball podcast between Chad.
Yes.
And Jesus, Chad, can you imagine if you would have just been whatever? All right, I'll give it a go. I agree. Let's give this a try. And then 5 minutes into the first show, you're like.
But that was never the plan. I still don't get it. That was never the plan. That was his perceived version of the plan. My plan was exactly what I ended up putting on Creative Control and publishing for a year by myself. It was just me interviewing ball players. That's it. That's all it was. It wasn't a panel discussion about baseball. It wasn't who's going to be starting at second base for the Yankees. It was interviewing baseball players. That was it. There was no discussion of a second mic. It was me, and that's it.
Hey, let's do an episode of the baseball podcast right now, Chad. I'll be Wangland and you ask me about baseball.
Wait, can I be Mitch Williams?
Pitcher or catcher?
Hey, man. Whatever order's first, more fun for good times.
Wangland, getting these things in his head, that is one of the funnier things. And I don't think Martin gets his head ahead of himself as John does, because back in that time, with the John Arezzi, he was trying to get John Arezzi and Jake the Snake. And recently, Brian Last spoke about his split with John Arezzi, and he talked about when he first signed John Arezzi on. And it was him and Conrad trying to get John Arezzi, and John Wangland was convinced he was going to get John Arezzi. When I heard that, I'm like, it's so hilarious that he thought he was a chance when he's up against Brian Last and Conrad Thompson.
Yeah, and it explains his burials of Resi and Brian Last, and I don't know if he buries Conrad, but it's like anything that he feels slighted him, all of a sudden he becomes, the opposite of a fan, like of something that he previously liked.
Hey, these guys who don't order wives via a website there, man, they're all jobbers and losers there, man.
What's going on now where there was a clip recently or a post where there's a new fundraiser / GoFundMe. Is Martin doing it again? Isn't that the thing that he said where he's like, and then half of the proceeds will go to the military? Well, where's the other half going?
Oh, yeah. What that was from was it was one of the newer episodes of Retro Wrestling Revival, and somehow they started talking about Linda Hogan and how she, they were debating what percentage of Hogan's money she got.
So, yeah.
I wonder how much she got in that settlement. How much do you think she pulled in from that settlement?
Well, before rough guesstimate, I just want to say Hulk, by the time they got divorced, Hulk probably is made by that time, which was right around 2006, 2007. He's probably was worth right around like $75 to like $100 million.
So she at least got about 25 to 35 million, right?
Yeah, so she's set, and she's getting monthly payments from Hogan. So
I don't even know how they got on that, but then they started talking about what they would do if they were Linda Hogan and they got that money. And
oh my God, they would date a younger man. They'd have sex with young men.
Oh, I'd be having all the fun in the world traveling around doing that. I'm telling you.
Martin said that he would donate money to
oh my God,
to charities and to veterans.
What would you do if you got that type of money?
There's some people that think I'm nuts for saying this, but I would donate half of my money to like local charities to help like with building houses, like to help local veterans, because like the God honest truth, like the way veterans are treated is complete horseshit. So
don't I know that all too well?
Oh God, yeah, man. Like, so half of it would go to my wife and kids, and the other half would go to local charities and to veterans.
I don't know what that has to do with a wrestling revival show, but they both try to come off as these benevolent do-gooders that would,
of course,
donate all their money.
So
that's a classy move, man. I like to hear that. It's nice to hear somebody say that. I like that, man. I believe that with you too. I really do believe if you won the big bucks, you would be a type of guy that would do that.
But that's a part of this whole debate here, okay? And one of the reasons why I think they continue to work together is this is a classic case of guys that did not have friends growing up, and they're looking for that companionship, and they found it in this common ground that they're watching wrestling together. Now, I've always argued, why do we need to flip up a laptop and plug in a microphone to do it? Why don't you guys just FaceTime each other and comment back and forth? But they just show classic signs of not real human interaction and human contact. And again, Wangland was in the military, and I give him all the credit in the world for that. I think that was very valiant of him to pursue that. I wouldn't. He did. That's fantastic.
Do you think he tried to throw a super kick at a Taliban member?
That's right, but that's it. Like, I just can't see this guy fitting in around other military personnel and being very close. I mean, look, no offense. My dad was in the military, okay, and I know the culture. That one picture that you always flash up, I mean, does that look like a guy who was making friends in the military? I mean, come on. It's just this duo of loserdom that got together at the perfect time, and they're just keeping each other company, and it comes off kind of sad. And now they've got this 61 episode arc of a podcast that's analyzing their interactions.
With John, it's like he's so sensitive to any kind of criticism or ball breaking, or I'll use a pro wrestling term because that's what people do. Ribbing, he doesn't seem to get. He doesn't get that. And one thing that you learn from what the fuck, we lost the host. One thing that you learn, I wasn't in the military, but I've had groups of friends for years and stuff. One thing you learn about being in a group of dude friends is like you're gonna get your balls busted, and you bust them back. Maybe harder, whatever. But that's what you learn, whether you're on a football team, you're in the military, you're in a fucking bowling league. I don't know. Guys bust balls. And you know that if you react a certain way, you're just going to get your balls busted harder. John hadn't learned that lesson. He always reacted the wrong way to any joke. And it all started with just Husey fucking with him about his numbers and shit like that. It did start out as a gimmick. I'm using those terms again. Podcast war. And he didn't know. Like, he knew it was a joke and still wound up taking it seriously.
I love the fact that he joined an army so that he could shoot Muslims and that's all right. But if we point out that he mispronounces the model Rick Martel's name, we're all bastards.
That's a damn good point. Yeah, it's a priority factor.
Yeah, that's the thing for me, because they're always having fun and they're just joking around. And they say, like, this guy, how much crack do you reckon he smoked last night? You know, and different things like this. And it's like, yeah, you're just joking around, but we are actually joking around, and but we're terrible people. But it's even more frustrating, like Brother Martin's microphone. You know, the criticism has been put out there. Put your mic in a stand, you fucking moron. And he hears that criticism and goes, oh, geez, look at me. I don't have my microphone in a stand. It's like you're trying to mock us because your audio sounds shit and you're not willing to fucking listen. Like, it's not all just fucking tearing you guys apart. It's actually giving advice. And I love the fact that he's so offended by everything that it doesn't matter what we say, he's not going to listen to it.
He's the definition of a bully victim at school who deserved it, and he's never grown out of it. And he's still trying to be that teenage with everything you say is right and I'm wrong. You know, that type of guy. And the thing is, the fact that you know why we make fun of his audio, because it's bad, and you know why we didn't make fun of JD from New York's audio, because it's good. This whole fucking shit, like we were technically Get My Go gave Wangland and what's the other guy, Martin, a year and a half of advice, and none of it sunk in their big fat ears, and they're actually possibly worse off. The only thing they've got going for them is that they have better video quality. But then you get fucking Martin, who who at one point, I remember, I think it was last week or the week before on Get My Go, he was holding his microphone like this and talking into the and talking into the lead. like you don't have to be Joe Rogan to know what part of the microphone to speak into. You have to be Christopher Martin to be such a fucking that you think that the electrical cable is collecting the sound.
But no, you're choosy. You're confused. The weather was bad that day.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was bad weather. That's why his mic was
hilarious excuses, man. Yeah, you know, a storm cloud.
Spectrum.
That's why I held my microphone upside down.
Oh yeah, he's on the spectrum, all right, Durband, and stuff and everything. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, that's insulting to people on the spectrum.
The regression, though, I gotta say, the regression is the key point as to why I can't decide where I put myself in this argument, because at a time, Wangland was doing audio and commercials and putting effort into things and piecing things together, to now just to again, go flip up the laptop, go live on Facebook for it. Nobody, absolutely nobody, and do about the laziest format possible, just watching something and talking about it for hours at a time. It just goes to show you that if he hasn't listened to any of the advice, I listen to some of the advice we give, and I take things and I'm like on the side, like write it down. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta focus on this, because we're giving out these tips. We've all been doing it for multiple years. We kind of learned the tips of the trade, but we've passed that along inadvertently, and nobody on that panel has taken it and run with it. So right now I'm leaning back towards Wangland. Damn it.
I think the worst.
I got to defend Martin. I mean, I think other than those couple examples where he was holding it wrong, or he had bad weather affecting his cable and his internet, Martin sounds, for the most part, way better than John. John, for some reason, he's got his microphone somewhere off to the left or to the bottom right, and his microphone seems like it's aimed at his keyboard, because you can hear that.
Do the space bar.
It's a loud space bar hit, and he's hitting that thing the entire show. Yeah. So John, I don't know I don't know why the microphone is away from him. It's got to be 2 or 3 feet away from him. It makes no sense to me. So I give a point to Martin on that one.
I think that the Wangland's audio is bad because he refuses to change. I think that he possibly did an audio test and moved the microphone, realized it sounded better, and thought, "Hey there, man! I can't let them know that I paid attention. Therefore, man, everything stays the same there, man." And then he texted an army buddy, "Are you in the shower there, man?" Do you think Martin? Do you think that Wangland was beaten up in the army?
Oh my God.
The hazing.
No, he was the Punisher.
Yeah, we got the Punisher and Barry Bonds teaming up. I mean, how fucking great is that?
He was the shit pusher.
That should be the name of their show, The Punisher and Barry Bonds. I mean, that's better than all the multiple name changes. Again, back in the Wangland side of things, here's a guy who had an established brand that he stole the name from, okay, but put a lot of effort into it and had multiple shows coming on and being a part of his little world, to then being live on Facebook at 3 o'clock in the morning watching wrestling for 5 hours under 5 different names in the past year and a half. I mean, like, so, damn it, I'm leaning back towards Wangland again. This is going to be hard.
I think the biggest swing and a miss, and it's not our fault, but the biggest thing that we missed to be able to make fun of and parody is the fact that they didn't get to go to that Georgia convention.
Yeah.
You know, like John had convinced everyone that they had such notoriety and popularity that they could buy a table, rent a table at a convention and sell merch, and people were going to come up and take pictures with them. That's fucking amazing that he was able to convince people of that. And I wish they had gone to the convention to get that done. But another thing, I think one of the worst things, like John's influence on Martin, is the fact that he always told him how successful they are and pointed out the numbers and the charts and all this. We've established on this show multiple times that the iTunes charts are not accurate whatsoever. I can tell you, looking at the top 10, that I see most of these shows' numbers, and they're never right. It's never right at all. I don't like however they do it. You know, if Conan's down at 22 and this other show's up at 6, and I know Conan's show is getting double the numbers, clearly the charts are not to be respected. And I remember for the longest time they would point out that, oh, we're in this charts. We've always talked about number 13 in Brazil, whatever. And it's like,
and the
man, we've taught you that this is not accurate. And by promoting it, you're just showing more that you don't know what the hell you're talking about, or you don't listen.
The charts are shit. Yes. I've been doing this for 7 years. Have you ever heard me talk about it once? Okay. I've never cared. I know people who download the show. I know people that listen to New Generation Declassified, and I know what Triple Threat gets and Eyes. I don't take any solace in it. I don't care. It's there and people want to listen to it. That's fine. To be obsessed with it just shows that you've got some sort of inequity that you want to like compensate for. And I don't get it. And anybody who just brings up the charts to prove a point is furthering that discussion. And it's pathetic, and you guys got to move on. You're not those top tier shows, so stop trying to act like you are. You're not going to get any advertising or any kind of new revenue coming in. It's just to say, hey, look, we're doing this, so we're great. And it's false. It's shit. What's that chart? What's that chart thing? I get emails.
Chartable.
What a bunch of shit. What a crock of shit. And they give you countries you've never heard of on it. And it's like, what am I looking at this for?
I've even been heard in Czechoslovakia. Woo.
Yeah. And hey, let me go on. Let me go tweet something out and say, hey, I've been heard in 65 countries, 64 of which I can't pronounce. But you know what? Somebody listened to my wrestling podcast there on a whim.
Man, I really revved up Chad there. That was a nice.
It's just one of those things. You know, go listen to my Mallertown vacation. I get a little heated as it relates to some of this stuff. This is something I'm passionate about because I put a whole career into broadcasting, and I look at 4 other guys here that put a lot of effort into what they do, and this is no effort. And to rely on chart numbers to prove a point just goes to show you your shit.
I just like the fact that when it turned into John after he first dumped the show and said his goodbyes and stuff, as soon as he came back, one of the things we mocked was always, I'm going to do things the right way. We're going to do things the right way. And apparently the right way means not giving a shit and not putting in an ounce of effort. Apparently that's the right way.
After jumping on board with Who Are These podcasts, one thing that does stand out to me is the amount of people that do, they take it personal and just turn around and start burying the people back and not actually doing any introspection. It's amazing how many different podcasts do this. But the only one that can really be taken seriously is sorry, I just had to work taken in there. That is this prick. This prick talks about people fucking being poorly educated Trump supporters, and you know he goes on these rants about religion where he doesn't understand fucking religion at all. He's a moron, and yeah, to say the word "tooken," I'm sorry, I don't care who you are. If you use "tooken," you're a fucking idiot.
Literate. Don't forget the old. You know, I love like his criticism about Trump supporters and all that. That's great, but I like even more the if you're not married, you're a big old bottom right, if you will. And dude, that's the greatest thing ever to me. Like marriage and a yard and a couple of pets. That I don't know who, pushed that into his head that should be his goal, but that's the ultimate. He's in the throne now, and you suckers that aren't married, you have nothing. You have no lives, nothing at all.
So, but I'll tell you what. I mean, I did reach out to an outside source here, who I guess has been inadvertently listening to me while I've been listening to Get My Go, and the Mrs. Chad weighed in on her choice, and she actually said Brother Martin. Matter of factly, because of the interactions with Brian Knobs on the airwaves. So she leaned Brother Martin. I found that to be pretty interesting. She was matter of fact, and I didn't think she really heard anything. Now remember, she was all in on Rue sucking, so that was great. But she's taken it in and heard those other two.
Haven't we, thrown a big roadblock in front of Rue? Like, didn't I hear he podcasts a lot less or something? Like, it actually kind of affected him.
Oh, must not have gotten those FCC licensures for 2022.
It's a radio show.
We got Otaku to change his name.
Yeah.
Oh, did you? Wow, really?
Yeah, he's the WO gatekeeper.
He's the Weight Watcher.
We definitely affected him because he did that half-hour rebuttal to us.
Yeah,
and he was very affected by it.
I got a request if once we're done this roundtable and whatever, we gotta fucking give the Get My Go treatment to John's appearance on the news. That's
okay. I've been conflicted with that one. We haven't talked about it. We haven't referenced it. We haven't posted anything about it. But yes, John was on his local news. Is that the big city in that area? So around Thanksgiving, he was on the local news, and it's hard to criticize him because he's doing a very good deed.
Yeah, I'm not saying criticize the fact that he's helping put on a Thanksgiving dinner. I'm saying criticize the fact that he uses his bad podcasting habits in the interview. It's fucking great.
So wait a second, time before you continue. Sorry to interrupt. Before you continue. So he was able to do that, right? He was able to get on the television airwaves about his charity, and then went home and podcasted all night and in front of a video screen at 3:00 in the morning with Brother Martin watching WCW and making jokes about hard work Bobby Walker.
Yeah,
same night.
Yeah, but that is a tick in the John category. Like, John is actually doing good things in his community. Like, he is a good person in that respect, and Brother Martin just tries to glom onto it and just agree with everything. He's like, yeah, Brother Martin doesn't help anybody in his community. Like, he's just
yeah, but are we sure that John's really helping anyone? Because I mean, we've heard him. He gives terrible advice, terrible advice, and some of his views are terrible. Like the
but I'm talking about the Thanksgiving dinner and getting them food and stuff. I'm not saying his life coaching is a fucking big win.
Like, how can he treat people for this, that, and addiction and whatever else? And then we have a recording of him saying, if you want to quit drugs and alcohol, just quit. Yeah. Like, have you taken a course on this? Like, where did you come up with that?
All right. So again, we're not mocking
that anchor.
This.
I'm sorry. Just got to say that anchor is all about. If you look at that, she ain't leaving that market ever. Damn.
We're not mocking this in any way. Good for you, John. He's doing a very good deed. He's providing lunches for the veterans in his area. I watched this. Who sent this to me? I think it was. I think.
Okay, I was gonna say it just appeared. I'm like, holy shit, who found this?
Yeah, this was a couple weeks after it aired. Sent it to me, and I watched it. I was amazed. I was like, how is that the same John that we've been watching for a year and a half and mocking? I thought he was very professional on this. I thought he spoke very clearly, and I didn't see any of the ticks. I think he threw in one over there. Right,
if
Jack?
You're going to analyze right now through the Get My Go lens, you'll see. You'll see.
Yeah, I was sort of stunned when you said, Mike, that he got through that, no worries. He didn't have his usual problems. And then I watched and I went, what did you watch, Mike?
Yeah,
that's classic Wangland.
I didn't want to do this on Get My Go, but I guess we will. Anyway,
no, I was going to say, once again, though, it's a great deed. We're just making fun of how bad he is at talking. That's all.
Correct.
Yeah.
Coming up, lawyers on call with Tom Schimmerling. But first, is set to host a Thanksgiving meal for veterans. Joining me now in studio to tell us more about this year's Thanksgiving luncheon is Clear Path Senior Support Manager Jonathan Wingman. Thank you so much for joining
I defy you to not laugh just as soon as they cut the and in the studio.
Yeah, absolutely. We're having a great luncheon this Thursday. It's going to be at the Post To be continued.
All about the regular good strokes that you need there. Over the top, cup your hands, kick your feet, man. We're ready for it.